Two players out for Manchester United, one key player staying and one more incoming. Manchester United's midfield situation is developing and loads of talks over the midfield situation over international break, with Bruno Fernandes being right at the forefront of it. Going to go through his quotes and what he said about that move that isn't happening to Saudi. It has completely changed. Want to get your thoughts on this in the comment section this morning, everybody, as well. Welcome along to Forever United TV. We are live. It's Saturday morning. The weekend is here. Now counting down to Liverpool after this weekend finishes. Who is going to be in the frame for Manchester United in that game? We'll bring you the injury updates, how everyone's done on international duty as well. Players returning from injury and a key academy player returning from injury that could play a big part for Manchester United now going into the back end of this season. We'll also give you an update on everything that's going around the ownership situation of Manchester United, where them bids are. Is there any further details in terms of what might be happening with United being sold up by that mystery UAE bidder? We'll see. It's still, well, we'll get to that at the end of the show. Let's get into all of the Bruno Fernandes talk first of all this morning. And good morning, everyone. Hope you're ready for your weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a peaceful weekend with no Manchester United drama. It was like that last week when we got the 2-0 win. But can you think back and how much drama was involved in building up to that Sunderland game? It is nice just to have a weekend off, isn't it? Every now and then, and enjoy it and do other things. But it will be ramping up again towards the back end of this week. Bruno Fernandes will, of course, be in that side against Liverpool come Sunday. You know he will. He has been talking on international duty. And again, you've probably heard me say this many a times now, but on international duty, everyone gets them, let's call them juicy bits of gossip, interviews and things that come from the international break. They always seem to be a little bit more hard-hitting, don't they, than when we're in the normal club schedule. What is it with internationals when these players just go away and just start talking and opening up about everything? Bruno Fernandes is one of them this week, talking on international duty for Portugal about that move that didn't happen and his explanation of it. And it was basically Bruno breaking it down and saying, look, I didn't take the Saudi move off the table because of the World Cup. And he never wanted to leave Manchester United. The club didn't want him to leave. He didn't want to leave. And it was as simple as that. And he doesn't want to leave again. He wants to be at Manchester United. He's still going to be a part to play. Like, look, everything can change going into a summer transfer window, but you have to take quotes from the actual player himself talking about his future seriously. I think there will be developments later when the window opens in the summer. And obviously Carlos Baleba on top of that as well, being United's number one target still from other reports, kind of makes you feel that Bruno Fernandes staying, again, if Manchester United are trying to build a team around Bruno Fernandes, it just looks so short-sighted because Bruno is a freak of nature. No one runs like him. No one tries to do everyone else's job like Bruno Fernandes. Whether you love him or you hate him, he is difficult to build a team around, I feel. And I think he plays probably his best football for Portugal because he's part of a full team. He's put in line. At United, he's always been built up as the top dog. And I think this could be a problem for United going forward because he isn't the future of this football club. Definitely not. And if you're trying to bring players in to work around Bruno Fernandes, what when Bruno leaves? What about when Bruno Fernandes leaves when the future comes? But then I start to panic and worry, and I'm like, if they're giving contracts to 33-year-old players like Harry Maguire, and Bruno is still fit as a fiddle, and they'll be looking at the Ronaldo situation, how long Ronaldo lasted, how he played. Bruno Fernandes, pretty cut from the same cloth, really, when it comes to fitness and longevity. I mean, he plays every single game that there is there, like Ronaldo does. Are United thinking that Bruno Fernandes is going to be here for the next few years? And this is Ruben's time. Ruben's had his say, and Ruben wants Bruno Fernandes to be part of this Manchester United setup. And then everyone who's brought in is brought in around Bruno rather than to replace Bruno Fernandes. Because we're talking about Kobbie Mainoo constantly trying to get into this side. All the talk and what Bruno's seen at the moment and everything else that's being said from inside Manchester United is that Bruno's going nowhere. And if Bruno's going nowhere, somebody else has to. And that's the problem right now. And that's the problem Manchester United have got in facing the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee going into this January transfer window. they're going to keep pushing. The unrest will keep on developing and getting worse because they're not playing. And by the way, I'm not making this out like Cobby and Xerxes are kicking up his thing. I really don't think they are, but you're going to inside be feeling, I'm never going to play. I don't like this situation. I don't want to be part of this. I want to be playing football. Whether you love the club or not, at the end of the day, if Bruno is never going to be dropped, which he isn't, then we have got a problem. And if Bruno's going to stay beyond this season as well, it's an even bigger problem because you're having to make people work around him, and then what's left for everybody else? Because Cobby's not going to wait. He's not. And look, I get this. And the story of Baleba going around today and all of that talk, him still being the top target for Manchester United, I get the perfect scenario that Ruben wants to see Baleba next to Cobby Mainoo, and that's how it's going to move forward. It's a great look ahead and the great prospects of what Manchester United might look like, that young, vibrant type of midfield for United. But still, Cobby Mainoo in a two-man midfield doesn't kind of shout out security to you, or definitely not shouting out that we have got a secure future. Like, I'm not having a go at Cobby Mainoo here in this at all, but when you look at a Baleba and Mainoo midfield, it's never going to happen while Bruno Fernandes is there anyway. And everything that we could look at to how Cobby fits into a two-man field, can he do it, and counts for absolutely nothing because Bruno wants to stay. And if Bruno wants to stay, I fully feel that Manchester United will let him, and they will say, we're keeping you. That they don't want to get rid of him. They made it very clear in the summer that they don't. And if Bruno does come out, and now we started talking like it's international duty, and look, I'm all for Bruno Fernandes feeling confident and everything's turning around at Manchester United, but Bruno Fernandes actually staying at United in the future is a big, big problem for this football team and people around in that midfield, because it's not working. It's not working consistently for United. Look, Ruben might get this right and he might get something, but it's guessing again, isn't it? From what we've seen so far, we know that it's not working in there. And the thought of Bruno leaving in the summer it's not like I'm saying Bruno wasn't a good player, because he's a great player. But you had hope that there was something new coming and it wasn't going to be the same old. And now we're hearing Harry Maguire's in contact. His people are in contact with United. He's getting a new deal. Bruno Fernandes wants to stay as well. And all of a sudden, you're like, well, if Bruno's not going and Maguire's not going, and then it probably means that Luke Shaw's probably not going to go either. And you're just there another season on, and it's the same players again. Whereas every other side is developing. You look at Arsenal, for instance. You look at that midfield there and you're thinking, you can't live without Odegaard. And then Odegaard's not in the team that much, but you've got Declan Rice and Zubimendi there as well. It's like every single team adapts above us. It's like McAllister was a Stonewall pick for Liverpool. Now he's in and out of the side. Things change all of the time. And the players that are there constantly, if you're not performing well, you're always going to get this criticism coming around, like, why are we not changing it? Why is nothing moving? And that's what we're going to get with Bruno Fernandes. And you can feel that heat coming, can't you? You can feel what's coming into the summer transfer window with the fan base. If we have another stinker of a season and Bruno Fernandes stays, then everyone's going to be kicking up a stink. If we have a good season, we finish in Europe, which is probably what Bruno is talking about a lot, is he wants to be part of bringing Manchester United back, and he has spoken openly about this. He wants to be in and amongst bringing Manchester United back again. If United don't get Europe, Bruno's scenario might be a different one in the summer, but we all want Man United to be back in Europe next season. We want to try and salvage this season. If we go without European football again, we might be forced into selling Bruno anyway, just so we can bring money in to get the players we need. So I think it's a difficult one to look at, but I've always had this thing, like, Manchester United are soft when it comes to players. They don't, and look, in certain scenarios, for instance, let's just say Rasmus Højlund and Andre Onana, they've been quite forceful. Like, why are we not like that with everybody in this team? And I know Bruno Fernandes has been a great servant for Manchester United, and Harry Maguire has done his time, but why are we clinging on to players like this for so long when we need to be replacing them? It's not like other teams. For instance, you could have a really successful team, and this is the difference. If Manchester United were doing well, if United were doing what Real Madrid were doing, or Barcelona were doing, or Bayern Munich, you could still hold on to a few of the older players. For instance, Toni Kroos, Modric, Muller, players like this, Busquets. Players like this can stay around if your team's successful because you can bring them in and out. But United are so far down and behind everybody. We're a different scenario altogether. We need to be looking past these players to try and change something because this isn't working. If it was working, no one would really have a problem. But it's not. And that's where the issue comes, I feel, in Bruno Fernandes, in other players waiting around to come through, not wanting to hang around. All of a sudden, Bruno leaves and then Kobe's already left. There's no one to replace him. He's already gone. And that decision was made because he wasn't getting in the side because Bruno was there. These are the things I just think Manchester United are a bit lax with, to be honest. And it does worry me. Like, we do need to have that cutthroat approach going into this summer transfer window. And I don't think we've got it. I don't think we're prepared to do it either. That's the worry. Look, Bruno still might change his mind, but the talk that's coming from him and everything that he's talking about there, not wanting to go, wants to be a part of Manchester United, loves just playing football, hasn't got a problem at all in playing whatever role the manager wants. That's a man that's going to do everything to stay in this Man United side, and I love that. But again, I just think there's somebody who needs to look past what the players are willing to do and look what's happening to the rest of the squad and the rest of the team that we might need further down the line. And that's where the Kobe and Xerxes stories come out from ESPN as well today about them wanting to move out of Manchester United this month. And they will push for that move to get away from the club because they want to be part of the World Cup. Constantly talking about it. And it's just going to keep on. I think the story anyway, it's just going to keep on coming out week in, week out. If he doesn't get picked, the papers will pick up on it, the media will drive it, and there we go. ESPN reporting, Kobe Mainoo and Xerxes looking for moves away from Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes is staying, Harry Maguire is staying, and you're looking then towards, when Leacher comes back, is there a chance that Lennon Yoro doesn't feature because he wants to put Harry Maguire in? Aidan Heaven brought in, where does he feature now for United? Because Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire are there. These are the things that we were looking forward to that we might not now see because these older players haven't been let go and they're still here. And I honestly don't know. I love the professionalism side of it and I get the whole argument, but I don't get why we are so soft in this area, whereas other clubs make sure that they've already moved on. We've got actual players there to come into both of these players' positions as well. But yeah, let's get into the comments section on this. Give me your thoughts on this one. That was the main talk from international duty. The Bruno Fernandes thing and Bruno staying is a worry because of what's happening behind him more than anything. Not Bruno. It's the fact that we know Bruno playing means that nobody else is going to play, or anyone in his position anyway. We build it around Bruno. He's not the future. No, he's not. Why build it around Bruno? He's not the future. That's what Silverback says there in the chat. Gary says, personally, I think there is a lot more bullshit in the news when there are international games. Do you know what? You could say that there's a lot more crap going around in the news, but there's also a lot more interviews and players being open because they're a little bit more comfortable. The guard comes down with players, doesn't it, on international duty? Bruno is a big problem. We are holding on to players that should have left a long time ago. We are buying young talent, but we are going backwards. We need to get Bruno out. He's nothing special. Well, he is. He has been our big player, and he has been special for us in bailing us out season after season. But we do need to move on. He and Cass will hold the midfield together next season. Mason helping. This is why someone needs to find 10 billion. 10 billion. I'm not sure what you mean by that one, Lawrence, mate. Casemiro definitely will leave Manchester United. If they tried to keep hold of Casemiro, then I think everybody would give up. We cannot keep clinging on to this midfield. Every other area of the pitch has been completely transformed, but for this midfield. Bruno has created 114 chances already this season, more than any other Prem player this season. Yeah, but like I said, we cannot cling on to Bruno just because he's doing well this season. I get it, brilliant player, and he's giving more than anybody else, and he's creating more than anybody else. He is a special breed, but if nobody else is going to come in, then what about when Bruno leaves? Eventually, there's going to be no one there. That's what we're talking about. But we need to start looking past him. We need to start learning how to play without Bruno Fernandes. We cannot keep relying on one man doing everything. Because, again, that for me doesn't show that this system is working. If you're relying on one man to pull something out of the bag constantly, then it's flawed in a way, isn't it? It's that Moments FC thing again with United. And Bruno will keep doing it. And I love him for doing it because we need the points and we need to get up that table. The bigger picture is Bruno will help United more than hinder Manchester United this season. I think he has got that mentality. My issue isn't this season with Bruno. That decision was made in the summer and I'm happy with that. I'm living with it now. It's the one to come. It's Bruno when it comes to the summer transfer window, or what might have happened against what we've got already and what's going to happen again. Let's scroll through. Harry Maguire, 6 years of complete and utter failure. Short, let's keep him, says Ginge. Staffo, what do you think Bruno is going to say? United want rid of me and I want to go. No, Staffo, we're going into what Bruno said in the international break there. And he's explaining exactly what happened. And again, like we're saying, Bruno wants to stay. He could have easily just said, look, I'm concentrating on the season. But no, he's talking about wanting to stay at Manchester United. And that's what he said in the summer. So, yeah, it is important to look ahead. And we're seeing this. And this is why I've brought in Harry Maguire. If Harry Maguire is getting a new contract, then there's no reason why Manchester United would say no to Bruno Fernandes. This is the point, mate. This is the context to it. We already know Maguire is being given a contract. And if Bruno says he wants to stay again, Bruno will get another contract at Manchester United. And we will keep on paying these older players. And they will stop the younger players coming through because they are seen as so important to this team. And Bruno is. But until we start forcing the issue and making it clear that we cannot rely on Bruno Fernandes constantly, we're never going to change. And that's the point I'm trying to make with it. In the summer, you morning a lot would have been happy as if you were told before the window you would get the two most prolific situations sorted, strikers and goalkeepers. Glenn, you can't have a go at everybody having a moan. Like, the goalkeeping situation should have been sorted at the start of the summer. The striker situation was sorted, yes, but everybody also knew we needed the midfield. And so, yeah, we was happy with all the players that came in. Nobody wasn't unhappy with the players that came in this summer. They were the right players. But what we've got right now is a situation where you've got good players in Manchester United's squad that aren't going to get game time because of certain players getting new deals. And this, again, you're worried about it, aren't you? Because, yeah, it's like Manchester United will be better this season. With Senna Lamens in and Sesko there, and I said this the other day, I said, with them two players there, United will already be so much more than what they was last season. And I do expect Manchester United to still finish in the European places, even though everyone keeps shooting me back down. But what happens when you get to the end of the season, you're in Europe? Do you continue with what you've got because they've done well and accept that, and then still stay in that area? Or do you go out and buy players that are going to take you to that next level, that are going to help you compete properly? And maybe Ruben could actually get more out of them players because he has got players that are going to suit his system better. Like, right now, I don't think there's anyone in Manchester United's midfield, and I've said this before, suits Ruben's system. Now, Michael Owen has been talking openly, and so too have ESPN again. Reports on everyone having a go at Ruben Amorim's system as stupid. I mean, I've seen this a few times this week right now. People shouldn't be having a go at Ruben Amorim's system. They're overdoing the system side of things. I get it. There's a lot on the players actually performing better. There's a lot on these players actually getting their act together, having a good look in the mirror and getting more out of themselves. It's not fully on Ruben, and I fully get that. But there is a big push. I've noticed this. There's a bit of a shift at the moment in backing Ruben Amorim as well from some parts of the media. Now, a lot have said, and trust me on this one, if United get beaten by Liverpool, the media will be turning straight back in on Ruben Amorim again and having a complete go at him because of his system and what he won't change. If he wins, and I've said this all along, if he keeps winning games, no one's going to talk about anything. And that peace that we've had over the last week now, because United won a game, that's what the media hate. They hate all of this Manchester United doing well. They need United to actually be bad. But Ruben Amorim, and there has been a shift with this. And I think even what Rob Dawson said from ESPN is saying it's unfair of Inos to go in and say to Ruben that we're going to sack you in October. When really Ruben could come back and say, well, you didn't give me what I wanted to proceed at this point. You cannot just get rid of me now because we've only just started and you haven't given me everything that I wanted. And he's going to need that yet. And I think this is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe probably talking about in that interview, in that giving Ruben Amorim 3 years means he would have been given everything he wanted. And if he doesn't progress and he doesn't make anything out of United, then you could easily have a case for going, right, that's it. Time's up. Sack him. Sack him. There you go. That's where it's at. But there has been a shift. There has been a shift in, I feel, in the media. And speaking a few times, I've spoken on Sky this week. I've seen some other programmes as well. I'm talking to other people, other Manchester United fans, listening to a few other podcasts as well with some ex-pros. There is this sort of like Ruben obviously knows what he wants to do in his mind, and it's the players, it's on the players. There's been a shift across to the player focus at Manchester United, I've noticed over this last week anyway, the last few days. And people like Michael Owen coming out, they're saying it's ludicrous that you be discussing Ruben's system. You've got to look at the players. The players are not doing enough. But then again, a lot of fans would come back and say, well, Ruben needs to get more out of these players. He's the one that needs to actually give these players something, get more performance out of them, inspire them, you could say, in certain parts. Because a lot of them, mentality-wise, struggle massively. And Ruben's picked up on that. So, again, that's where he's got to turn into that manager. He's got to turn into that Manchester United manager, because it's all right saying it's hard mentally to deal with Manchester United, but a lot of people would come back and probably say, look, yeah, it's hard mentally dealing with Manchester United, but still, like, that manager there is there for a reason. He should be able to get more out of them. He should be able to inspire them and get more out of their performance on that day. But then again, you'll have former pros saying, you're wearing that Man United shirt, that should just come with the territory. Well, there is a good old debate at the moment about Ruben and this system, and it's not as one-sided as it was. It's changing a little bit. So I'll keep an eye on it, obviously, in terms of how it goes if we do lose to Liverpool. It may go completely the other way. But I think my words the other day on Sky were, it's like this ever-changing environment around Manchester United. The only thing that's going to get everybody going the same way is consistency. And consistency is the one thing that this team has not got yet. And until that happens, he's going to be in, he's going to be out, his system is okay, it's the players. No, the system doesn't work, you can see it, the players have failed again. That's just going to continue and continue and continue. And all of that on top of, like we said, Bruno Fernandes keeping his place in the side, Kobbie Mainoo waiting on the sidelines. It's just going to develop and develop. And United are going to have that problem in January. I do think, like, the stories of Xerxes and Mainoo, I think, are real and true. And they could both leave in January. But then again, who's coming in? Adam. Well, I totally agree. Don't keep the dead wood. If we were to sell Maguire, it would cost you at least 40 to 50 million to replace him. And we are more focused on signing to central midfielders, which will... I think you ran out of words there. Connor, on that one, mate, I disagree. Actually, I disagree, because we've got Aiden Heaven there. We've got Mazraoui there. We've got 6 other centre-backs there. We're not going to go out and spend 40, 50 million to replace Harry Maguire. We don't need to do that straight away. You could find the free agents there. We've got enough players there to cover Harry Maguire. And you're keeping him what? Just in case. You're keeping him just in case. You could be signing someone up here to another massive contract that we don't need. We have got cover there for Harry Maguire. We have got an abundance of centre-backs, and this is why I don't think we need to keep hold of him. We can move him on and then give Aiden Heaven them chances to come into Manchester United's side, rather than Harry Maguire. So I get what you're saying, and all focus has to be on the midfield, and that's where our majority of money needs being spent. 100% that needs to happen. Just looking at all of the news coming in as well. I'm going to keep you updated on everything that's going on. It's big write-up on the situation. Just read through this. In terms of the Manchester United Executive Committee recently convened in Switzerland amid a somewhat positive atmosphere following the Premier League win over Sunderland, which temporarily created pressure on head coach Ruben Amorim. However, co-owner Jim Ratcliffe publicly affirmed that Amorim has 3 years to prove his worth. The calm was short-lived when Saudi official Turki Al-Sheikh posted an X claiming the club was in advanced talks for a sale to new investors, igniting whispered speculation. Al-Sheikh later clarified he was not involved and the buyer was not Saudi, sharing the information as a fan, hopefully, for a change from the Glazers' family ownership. Well, the New York Stock Exchange has shifted a little bit. Manchester United shares on the up after this news. More talk here on this situation. The club's share structure features Class A shares traded publicly on the NYSE and Class B shares with superior voting rights predominantly held by the Glazers, granting them 67.9% of voting control despite owning less than half of the total shares. Radcliffe's Inos holds nearly 29% each. Class acquired in 2024 deal that included a $300 million injection control over sporting operations. The agreement includes drag-on rights effective from August 25, allowing the Glazers to compel Radcliffe to join full sale, but any deal before February 2027 must exceed $33 a share Radcliffe paid to ensure he recoups his investment. So someone going into detail on the structure of where Manchester United is. So for instance, if anyone was going to come in right now before February 2027 as part of this deal also, then they would have to pay $33 a share, the price that Sir Jim Ratcliffe paid for his minority holding, the 29%. So what that looks like and what people are trying to break down here is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could afford to match that bid if someone came in. Is someone willing to go and pay $33 a share for Manchester United right now? We don't know. It's the mystery man and the mystery consortium story from the UAE, potentially Dubai, that we've been talking about the last 2 days. But again, like I said, you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe who's just positioned himself comfortably here in this situation, and you cannot count out Ineos fully owning Manchester United. The story goes on to say a potential sale could value United at a minimum of $5.7 billion before 2027, surpassing Chelsea's record, though the current share price is $16, valuing the club at $2.8 billion. Post 2027, Radcliffe loses his price guarantee, potentially lowering the deal threshold. The Glazers might favour selling sooner to maximise returns amid upcoming debt refinancing and commercial shifts. Speculated buyers include Qatar's Sheikh Jassim, who previously bid unsuccessfully, Saudi interest despite denials, USC consortium and private equity firms, though any process would be protracted due to irregularity and stakeholder complexities. That from The Athletic. So The Athletic reporting there on the situation in depth. Again, what this piece says to me, and this from what The Athletic has said here, and get your thoughts in on this as well, everybody, and where you're at. But what this actually says right now, shifting focus across here to the ownership situation, of course, is that the Glazers would be up for selling Manchester United now because somebody would need to come in and pay maximum for the club, not where it's at right now. Manchester United's value right now, $16 a share, is less than half of what Ineos and what the Glazers need to sell. If it goes into 2027 with the changing and refinancing of Manchester United, then the Glazers won't get as much. So what we are looking at here is the realism of the Glazers wanting to sell now, which is why all these stories have come out, because they know come 2027, that Manchester United might not be worth anywhere near that. So in the next 12 months, it's more profitable for the Glazers to sell, which is why all of these stories are starting to circulate and come around again. So this is where the Glazers are at, and the Glazers communicating with potential investors is something we know is happening. We know that it's on the table now from everything that's been reported, but The Athletic there just broke it down as to why the Glazers might sell right now, because Manchester United shares are not going to get anywhere near what Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid. And I think Sir Jim's in a very, very strong position to take this part ownership model that he's got, knowing that nobody's going to come in for Manchester United and bid that price, knowing that he could also afford that price if he wanted to take full control over Manchester United, because he sees the future and how much this club and this team is worth with the new stadium, with everything that he's built. His investment is to make him a fortune later down the line. And if he's happy to pay them share prices that the Glazers want, he knows he'll get that back later. And he's not in this for the short term. He's in this for the long haul for Ineos. And I think that's how the Athletic are trying to describe it there. They're trying to say that all the talk that's all of a sudden surprised everybody and come out, when you look at it and you break it all down, all the details of what the Glazers did with Ineos in allowing them in and their 29% show that come 2027, the Glazers might not be in a stronger position. So therefore, maybe the Glazers go and sell now while the price is very high and they know they've got that drag on, and they can sell for the higher share price of $33 a share. But when that runs out, the money that they could be getting is also gone. So that, I think, yeah, it's like people now, in terms of the news and everything that's actually being spoken about regarding the ownership and what might happen, there is no real updates. I think everybody's doing the work around what we know already and summarising what might be the cause to this news coming out. Because I said it, no one's going to find out what the Glazers are doing. No one ever has done. You'll know exactly what's going on from Ineos. You'll know exactly what's going on from Manchester United and sources from the club. And like we've reported, this is 3 days in now since this actually dropped, and nobody knows any more. That's where this is at right now. Nobody knows what's going on with the Glazers, and they never will do. Let's get into some more on this. Get your comments in, everybody. I think it would be a cost. I think it would cost 11 to 12 billion to buy success, with 2 billion spent on squad on top of debt and stadium. 6 billion for the Glazers. That's from Lawrence. Liam says, I don't mind 100% Ineos ownership, anyone but the Glazers. Jonathan says, it destroys my soul to see the Glazers walk away with a big payout while leaving United broken. Well said, Jonathan. I think that's every single Manchester United fan right now, isn't it? With them like sailing off into the Caribbean, Florida Keys, Salford Keys, yeah, with the Glazers somewhere in the little pedlos. But the Florida Keys and everything, with all that money in the back pocket, is painful, isn't it? They seen United coming, and it hurts you, doesn't it? It hurts you knowing that the Glazers, like, you want them out, but you don't want them to be successful in Manchester United. You want them to suffer, but they're not going to, and that's where it pains you. It's like, yes, they're gone, but they have absolutely rinsed Manchester United, that family. They have absolutely killed us. They really have, and now we're stuck in this situation with all of this debt, with all of the poor management from previous years, everything that they left us with, trying to recover. And as good as it feels to have them gone, the damage is there, and the damage is going to take a while to repair. Been saying this forever. Give Amorim a midfield and we will dominate. The team looks nervous because the midfield is weak, and they know it. The stadium won't be built for about 8 years. He'll be in his 80s by then. I think it will be closer than that with a stadium. I think it will. And like I said, that survey that came out, the plans and the big plans for Manchester United and what they're offering in that new stadium, I think it will be easily funded. I think the investment will come in. And I think they will get this moving very quickly. But if the Glazers are out and someone comes in, that takes the stadium talk onto a completely different level instantly. That takes us right into the realms of let's get this going, because the stadium is going to be the biggest thing for Manchester United moving forward. Financially, they need that stadium right now because it is limited to what it can do, Old Trafford. And the prospects of bringing in them finances later down the line, I think, is why they will push the stadium now, and the debt that it is going to bring. It is going to be on top of the club. It is going to be more debt. But I think they know it will pay for itself. It'll pay for itself in no time with the way that they can run that stadium and what they can get out of it. And I keep on saying they will use that Real Madrid model. $1 million a day the Bernabeu is creating. Manchester United will earn more than that with a new stadium, with everything that we could host there. At the 5-star hotels, 6-star hotels we're talking about in these surveys, casinos, everything that's going in there. It's going to be a money-making machine, and they know it. And again, it's the Glazers know what money can be made later down the line. Minor little gains, like they always talk about, little things building up into bigger things. And they know that it takes time to get there. They just wanted in at Manchester United because they know. And don't forget, they own the ground around Manchester United and all of the fracking rights around Old Trafford. So they know the value of the area. They know the value of Manchester and what's happening right now. And if they get the go-ahead, and if they get full power as well, the money that they make, even if they had to buy the Glazers out, United will be worth an absolute fortune. An absolute fortune. And this is what he wants. He's seen his opportunities to Jim Radcliffe, and he is going to make fortunes out of this football club. It's not all about the legacy. It's not all about making Manchester United successful again. There's a businessman right at the top of every decision that he makes, and he wants his money as well. Let's get some more comments in on this. You can buy whoever you like, but Amarim one dead formation system tactics is SHITE. I mean, look, the conversation about Ruben Amorim will, like I said before, continue forever and a day, and it will just go on and on and on and on. And look, until Manchester United are consistent, he's not going to change anybody's mind. And the problem we've got is that we've got Liverpool next. We're expecting to lose that game. Look, I do have some kind of hope that United could do something because we always seem to be able to turn up against decent sides. But what we're looking at, I feel, here is Manchester United expected to lose against Liverpool. It's them next 3 games, because I still think that Ruben will be sacked, even though Sir Jim Radcliffe said what he said. He's into that realm. He's a year in now. He's going to get these next 4 games, and then it's international break, the last one of the calendar year. And that's when the decision will be made. I still feel like that's when it's coming for Ruben. And no matter what we say, no matter what Sir Jim Radcliffe says, no matter what hope we've got, or what we might be able to get out of this system and the players we could bring in, it's all going to come down to Manchester United winning games on the pitch. And you can give Ruben every single player, and he will be better, but he needs to win games. Simple as that. If Ruben isn't winning, then Ruben's gone. I don't care what Sir Jim says, and he knows it. I said this the other day. I said that Sir Jim Radcliffe's changed his mind from what he said when he first walked through the door to where he is now. He was all for his own philosophy, and Inos were creating this footballing philosophy. They want people to come in. They want to determine how Manchester United play. And then Ruben walked through the door and changed their minds instantly. So they themselves, Inos and Sir Jim Radcliffe, have constantly changed their mind as well. So again, if United are losing games, talk is cheap and Ruben will be gone, I think. If United hold out in these next 4 games, I do believe they are the most important. And I actually feel if he gets through November, Ruben's in and he'll be in for the season. I think that's what it is. I think once Man United get to December, the games, I think it will suit Manchester United playing more. None of this waiting 1 week and then playing. It doesn't suit us one bit. I think when we get into December, I think we're going to be looking decent. Well, it's all hope. It is hope. Shea Lacey's done well in the under-20s for England as well. Lots of positive talks coming from that game. Leniolo featured for the under-20s for France as well. Clean sheet for him. So Manchester United performing, doing well on internationals, and so far, so good again on that side of things. Sekou Kone, by the way, update on him. He is now back in training after the international break. He is going to feature for Manchester United this season. I'm fully convinced of everything that's going on right now. United want him fit. I think if he didn't get that injury this season, he might have already been featuring on some of Manchester United's matchday squads. That extra midfielder that United need could be Sekou Kone. I'm not saying that he's going to be the replacement for Kobbie Mainoo if Kobbie Mainoo leaves on loan in January. That situation will develop as these next few games get played out. I mean, what have we got? We've got this next group of games, and I think if Ruben doesn't do well in that and Ruben's gone, then Kobbie Mainoo's situation changes completely. I think Ruben sees it out. Personally, I do. I think... If he keeps losing, he's going to lose his job. I keep saying that and I keep repeating myself on it. But I think he'll get enough out of these next 4 games to see through November. Then we're through the next international break. The back end of November, then into the December fixtures. And I think Ruben's there. And if he gets to that point, he'll see out the season, in my opinion. I think that's where we're actually at now. I think everyone wants him to succeed. The players apparently are right behind him. I think he'll bring some more of the academy through into this side throughout the season. It's a shame we haven't got a lot of games to play because we would have seen a lot of the academy players a lot sooner as well. But I feel Kone will feature. We might see a couple of others, but at the moment it's all looking towards that January transfer window because where the story of Carlos Baleba is there, I don't see United getting him in January. I don't see United getting any of the big midfield targets in January. It might be a loan or it might be an academy player coming through. I think that's where we're at. For me, Amorim is doing okay. With 3 points off top 4 now. Amorim just got to pick up points to hit the target. Just keep close to it. It will be fine. I heard Nicky Butt talking about the home form and everything being bad at Manchester United, talking on TalkSport yesterday. Like Manchester United's home form is actually decent. It's the best it's been in 3 years. 3 wins in a row. We haven't done that since August 23. The home games are massive for United. These are what are going to keep it, man. I said it. Liverpool's not as important as Brighton. As soon as Ruben starts losing home games, the pressure mounts. But while he's got that home crowd behind him and United continue to win their home games, he will stay mid-table. He will get on just about. It's if he can start winning a few away games then in between, and then he'll start getting closer to the Europa League places, top 6. If you can do that, and then you get to like 10 games in, and you're still in amongst it, and you're not far away, then you're like, right, he's still got a chance. He continues. And eventually, the players will realise that he's not going anywhere, and we're going to have to start performing better. We're going to have to start doing what he says. And that's what I think the club are hoping that as well. Let's just get a few more comments in before we wrap things up. Glenn says they have changed the forward line to score more. They got a new goalkeeper, all needed. They have already Euro and have, is that free? And are trying to get Branthwaite, all youth. I don't think we should go for Branthwaite. I'm not going to spend that much money on Branthwaite. He just signed a new contract as well. If Manchester United aren't big enough to move on from Fernandes, Shaw and Maguire and replace players like Dalot, Agate and others who are not best in class, we will remain a mid-table team for years. Well said, Philip, because I think that is right. We do need to get past these players, stop relying on them so much. Why are we relying on them so much is the question I would ask. The youngsters can smash it in the internationals. It doesn't mean a thing if they're not playing in the league. That's why I said we need to start seeing some of these players. Gary says, thanks for that, Fred, mate. Gary says, we already won our one game a month beating Sunderland. So not expecting another win until November. I get the sarcasm, yeah. Yes, I agree, Adam. I can see Sekou Kone coming into the fold. Mainu will move on in January if Amorim is still in situ. I just hope we are careful with our young lads. I know what you're saying there, mate. It is, they've been thrown into chaos before. It's one thing I do like about Amorim and how he's handled the academy. I do. Yeah, you're not seeing a lot of them, and some people will say, Adam, what are you talking about? Ruben's not give the academy a chance, but should we be throwing the academy into this mess right now? Should we be trying to sort out this first team before we start bringing in the academy players? I get that, because it's killed Mainu, it's killed Garnacho. Other players that have come in have just sunk because it's too much. When you haven't got a free-flowing, well-run first team, it's hard for any academy player coming through to even get to grips with first team life. Lee Cape Town says, hi Adam, Bruno is a liar. He took 2 weeks to think about the offer and played absolutely garbage because his mind was elsewhere. Remember the Europa final? I do remember it, mate. I do. His head might have been all over the place, but he still might have said that he wanted to stay. I wouldn't get carried away with beating 2 promoted teams and half a game versus Chelsea at home, half a game versus 10 men. Our form at home, honestly, isn't much better than our away form. It isn't, but great that Lamens is in. It is better, actually, United Focus. It is, because we do play better. Let's not forget, we've been away to Fulham, not what you would say world beaters. Brentford, not world beaters away from home. And we've been absolutely horrendous with no organisation. At least we look organised at home. And we should have battered Burnley, let's be honest. We should have been 4-0 up at half-time, the chances that we created. We should have been 3-0 up, 4-0 up against Sunderland at half-time. We should have beaten Arsenal at home. People are still saying, in terms of performance, that was our best of the season still. So we are better at home. I don't think anyone can complain about how United have played at home this season. Not one person can complain about it. The 4 games we've had, we have been good. The away games have all been horrendous. That's the problem we've got. And if we fix a bit of the away form, then it all adds in and we're all right. We're all right. Did you see anyone of the NI match? The youngsters can play if given the chance. Look, we've got a bright future at Manchester United. And just to go back to finish off from the top of the show and the conversation, the story really isn't so much of a story. It's a situation that we can see developing as United fans. Bruno, Shaw, Maguire all still being here next season. I want to see heaven, but you've got Shaw and Maguire in front of him. I want to see the likes of Kone come through. I want to see what Orozco could probably do next summer as well. I want to see another midfielder come in. I want to see Mainu and see how he features, but Bruno's there. And I love Bruno, and he's going to be there this season. I accepted it when he stayed in the summer. But I'm looking past this, and the situation will develop where, again, we just don't see these younger players coming in. If they're not good enough, why are they there? They've clearly been a big incentive to get these younger players in. And now they're in. Now we need to start getting them into the side and start trusting them a bit more. Yoro needs to be playing. We need to see what Heaven can do as well. Sure, as good as he is, and I know Ruben's desperate to keep hold of his job and get results at the moment, and I really do get that. There has to be a point where you bring in somebody else and start to build a team around him. Maybe that will happen when Ruben feels a bit more secure. And like I said, if he gets into December and we start getting a little bit more consistent, we might see other players come in then. That's where I'm at with it anyway. But yeah, international breaks always bring up these interviews and talking points. Give me your thoughts on all of that as well, everybody. Is it too soon to start looking at Manchester United's academy and bringing them into this side? Will they ever feature if United keep hold of players like Shaw, Maguire and Bruno? That's the topic. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking, everybody. Thank you to all of Super Chats. Thank you again to all of the mods in there. And don't forget, hit your Match Bingo discount right now. The link is in the live chat. The QR code is on your screen. All of the World Cup qualifiers are on for Match Bingo, everybody. Put in FUTV into the promo code section when making your deposit, and you will be boosted 100% on that deposit amount. So double your money, people. The games are only £2 a game, and you get 5 games for the price of 4 right now on Match Bingo on any game you want. We're building this up, and I'm trying to get as many people in on Match Bingo ready for that Liverpool game. We're going to have an absolute bonanza on that one. And we have had loads of different winners already here on Forever United TV on Match Bingo. So get on there now. You are missing out if you haven't got it. There's big winnings to be had, everyone. Get on there. Right, that is it for today. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all later on. Have a fantastic Saturday, whatever you're up to. I'll bring you all up to date if anything does break. I'll keep an eye on the ownership situation, as always. Please pop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all later on. Have a good one, people.